It's peas fresh out of the garden today in their sartorial kitchen. Kicking things off, it is a snap pea salad with lemon vinaigrette. Next, a homemade flatbread with pea shoot pesto, prosciutto, and goat cheese. And last but not least, a homemade split pea soup with fresh herbs out of the garden. So why don't you pull up a chair and dine with me?
Sartorial garden, everybody. That's right, we're not in the kitchen today. We're in the garden. I've planned a fun, fresh menu for you guys involving peas. And I have just been out, I have picked some snap peas. And I've got some pea shoots. Now to finish off my salad, I went to get some tomatoes, and I thought this would be a fun opportunity to show you guys where a lot of my ingredients come from. So here's just a quick tour of my garden. I've got strawberry beds, I've got some pear trees that are doing really well, my blackberries, my raspberries, sunflowers, they're doing really well this year. I've also got some corn, some green beans. I've got some squash and cucumber and melons over yonder. Fresh herbs, basil and kale and lettuce and of course tomatoes. And I need some tomatoes here for my salad. And these are just nice orange cherry tomatoes. And I'm just going to get a nice handful here, about a half pound or so. Welcome back to the kitchen, everybody. I hope you had fun touring my garden. I had fun showing it off. So we're going to start off here with my flatbread. Like I said, we're doing everything is peas today. It's going to be a pea shoot pesto flatbread. Doesn't that sound delicious? Now I know a lot of people are weird about flatbread. They just want to buy this store-made crust or have something that's already made because they don't want to mess with the yeast and wait for things to rise and all the kneading. Well, no need for that. I have a really simple recipe for you guys here. And we're starting out with just 2 cups of flour. I've got it into my sifter here because you know I love to sift my ingredients when I'm baking. I also need a half teaspoon of baking soda. Right into there. We also need a half teaspoon of salt. That one you can kind of eyeball. I need a half teaspoon of sugar. And we are just going to sift those ingredients into my mixing bowl here. And you can see the lumps in that flour. That is exactly why I do this. To this, I need 3 tablespoons of olive oil. And I want to make sure I measure that out as well. That's 1. And this is going to help keep our dough from drying out, and it's going to keep it from getting kind of like too sticky. Okay, that is 3. Thank you very much. And lastly, I also need a cup of milk. Okay, that is 1 cup. And then we grab our whisk and we stir it up. And I'm going to start by going in at the sides here and kind of folding into it. I don't want to over mix it. When you're working with flour, if you work the flour too much, you end up getting, you start activating that gluten, and then you're going to have a really dense, chewy product. I think that looks pretty good. I'm just going to let it kind of chill out in the fridge. And we'll work on our salad. Alright guys, let's talk snap peas. Snap peas, you can eat them just like this. They're great. They have a little sweetness to them. You can shell them if you want, the peas inside, and you can cook them like that. I'm going to do a little salad today. So I already rinsed these off. I rinsed off everything that I picked out of the garden. I've got some tomatoes here. These are fresh tomatoes. I'm just going to kind of slice them in half. Some Some of them still have the top, so you can pull those off. And then I've also got a shallot here. We'll be adding that as well. So this is going to be a nice bright salad. Lots of fresh things from out of the garden, and then I'm making a really simple vinaigrette. Okay, so that's about half a pint of the cherry tomatoes here. And then I've got my shallot here, also out of the garden. I like to grow as much as I can, as you guys saw. I have quite a bit out there. I thought the shallots would be something different. And it's a little smaller onion. It has a slight sweetness to it compared to other onions. And I think it's going to play well with the acidity of the dressing I'm making. And I'm just going cross and long ways on the onion. And then just come down, you get nice, beautiful little nuggets of onion. That's just going to go right into our salad. Also got some goat cheese here. I love cheese in salads. I feel like it kind of, it's like a little treat. Because, you know, the salads, it's all, like fresh and healthy, and so you add a little bit of cheese, and it's kind of like you're being naughty. And I'm also using this goat cheese for flatbread, but I just thought it would be fun to take a little of this and maybe about a third and chop it up for our salad. Olive oil and lemons. I love lemons. I mean, I could just eat a lemon straight if I wanted to. But they bring a nice acidity, a nice freshness. Let me get a new knife here. And it just brightens everything up. And I love, lemons is also one of my hacks. You know, if I'm ever using like store-bought ingredients, like a store-bought salsa, or something like that, squeeze some lemon into it. You'll never know. Okay, so I just need 2 lemons here, and I want to watch for the seeds. We're just going to kind of double fist it here. Depending on the size of the lemon, you should be able to get enough dressing here. Enough juice out of the lemon. Okay, I need a whisk. And we need about equal parts olive oil. You just kind of eyeball it. You'll see it, the olive oil covers the, coats the top of the lemon. You know you're good to go. And then I also want a little salt here. About a half teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. And that is it. Just whisk this baby up. I say this all the time, I wish I had smell-o-vision for you guys. This dressing smells great. And then we're just going to drizzle that over the top of our veggies. Beautiful, beautiful. Now let's give it a little toss. I like to use tongs. Just kind of come in here and toss everything together. Make sure that everything has a generous coating of that dressing. And what's great about the olive oil is it helps the lemon and everything coat nicely to the vegetables. I'm just going to plate some of this in here. Make sure we get those beautiful fresh tomatoes, some of those shallots. And then I'm just going to grab some of my goat cheese and I'm going to lay that right on top. And you can do any kind of cheese you want if you have feta on hand or fresh mozz, anything really that you like. I just happen to be using the goat cheese, so I thought I would go with that. And it's time for the tasting. Come in here and get a nice bite of everything. Yum. You hear the crunch. The minute you bite into everything, you hear that crisp. That's how you know your vegetables are nice and fresh. And then that goat cheese just melts in your mouth. It dances with the tartness of that lemon. Goat cheese is a little tart itself. So good. And then you get a nice bit of heat from the pepper and the shallots. And then the tomatoes just kind of round everything out. So refreshing, so delicious. Okay, I think my dough has chilled nicely. So let's move on to the flatbread. The dough is nice and chilled. I just find that it's easier to work with when you kind of let it rest. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little flour out here. We're going to kind of roll this out to our desired size. And I want more of a flatbread texture. I have a little bit of crust to it, but I don't want it to be like too I don't want it to be too dense. Okay, and then we're just going to kind of come in. We're going to get some of this flour here. And the flour is going to kind of help keep everything from sticking. So I just like to kind of go around and coat the outside of it with the dough. Looks pretty good. I've got it pretty well covered. I'm going to transfer it over to here. Before I go to roll it out, it's going to be a lot easier to move it than trying to move it from the countertop. And then I'm just going to kind of come down with my palm and flatten it out. And then we're just going to kind of push outward. If you have a rolling pin or something like that that you want to use, that's fine as well. And we got to kind of work quickly here because our dough is going to start to get a little sticky on you as it returns to room temperature. I'm looking for about a 1/4 inch or so. But you can make it as, if you like a little bit of a thicker crust, that's fine. You're just going to need to allow yourself more time to bake. Okay, I think this looks pretty good, I think. Now I just need, I'm going to drizzle the top with a little oil to help it get nice and crispy. And I've also got a little more of our garlic powder. I'm just going to lightly sprinkle a little on top to give us some really nice flavor there. And another little sprinkling of salt. Okay, this is going to go in the oven. We're going to cook the crust for about 8 or so minutes. I'm going to set my timer now. I will clean up this mess. And we will move on to our pesto. Let's cook pesto. Our dough is in the oven. So I'm going to move on to my pesto. And then I've got some different cheeses to put on it, and I have some fresh prosciutto from the deli. It's going to be luscious. So I've got my pea shoots here. They almost look like a microgreen. I thought it would be fun to try some different flavors for this pesto. So I'm going to put them in first. And I had just kind of rinsed these off and let them kind of dry out there. The garlic here, give that a good smash so it all comes apart. And you just want to make sure you get the peels off of these. I'm going to take my knife here. I'm just going to give them a little smash. And the garlic should peel right out of its shell. It's one of those kind of cold weather things. I plant these toward the end of September, early October, and they'll stay in the ground all year. And then they come up again about the end of spring, early summer. They're one of the first things I pick. And you can tell they almost grow like an onion. You'll have the stalks come up, and when they wilt, that's when you know they're ready to pick. And then I've also got some fresh grated Parmesan here. It's about a ½ cup. I also have another container that I'm going to be using for the flatbread. Some lemon here, some more lemon. You know me and lemon. And I always roll the lemons. That helps release the juices. And then this time I'm going to kind of use my hand and catch the seeds. We do not want seeds in our pesto. That would not be good. And this, you just need enough to kind of brighten everything up. And our other lemon here. It just kind of wakes up all your ingredients. I love lemon. Which should be going off right about now. And it is lovely. Okay, let's get our glove here. Alright, and that is pine nuts. I just had them in my toaster oven. It means that our flatbread is ready to come out. Perfect timing. We're just about done with our pesto. And you can see this is why we roll it out, because it is kind of puffed up nicely. So I'm going to set this aside. And let's get our pine nuts here. And this is about a 1/4 cup of pine nuts. You can buy them already roasted. They're a little higher. I don't mind to roast them myself. It's not a big deal. Just a couple of minutes in the toaster oven on a low setting. Okay. I thought I would use some grapeseed oil versus the olive oil. I like the grapeseed oil. It has a nice different flavor to it. I'm going to pull this out so I can drizzle my oil in. And we're just going to turn it on. We're going to kind of let that go for a little bit. And then we'll slowly drizzle in our oil until we see it all come together. And this looks really good. I just want to give it a little taste. Nice. The pine nuts give it a nice kind of richness. And then you get that bright freshness from the pea shoots. Remove our blade. Okay, and then I'm just going to kind of pour this out on top of our flatbread here. A nice, generous dollop of that. And then I'll take my spatula here, and you just want to kind of move this around, get it to the edges, so it's nice and covered. And this pesto works great as like a dipping sauce. If you you have like breadsticks or cheese that you can just do it like that. I've tossed gnocchi in it before, but it's really good on any kind of like pizza or flatbread. I love it. Like I said, I've got the rest of my goat cheese here. And I just want to kind of crumble that right on top. We'll just break it into little nuggets here and spread it out onto our flatbread. I love cheese. You can never have enough cheese. And that's just going to go right on top. And I've got the rest of my Parmesan here. I'm going to sprinkle some of that right on top. About half the container should do. And I've got some prosciutto as well. And this is just some nice fresh prosciutto. Prosciutto is really just an Italian ham. It's cured. So it has a much different look to it than what you're going to find at your like your regular ham. Putting a fat in there. And I'm just going to kind of shave this into little pieces here. And just kind of free form. Just kind of lay it on top. However you like. Does not look amazing. Okay, we are ready to go back into the oven for about another 10 minutes. Just for all those ingredients to come together and to let the flatbread kind of finish mellowing out. And I will continue to clean up, and we'll come back when our flatbread's ready. Stay tuned. Hey, that is our timer. I think the flatbread is ready to come out. Oh, yum. Smells amazing. That fresh pesto. You can see the crust has gotten nice and dark. And that ham is crusted up beautifully. Alright, just cut me a nice little piece. Now this is probably good and hot. It just came out. But I love, you can see the crust here. I want you to look at that. Just flour and milk and olive oil. A little baking soda. You don't need yeast and all that to make a good pizza dough. Kind of blow on it a little bit. It's pretty hot. The mark of a good crust, though, is when you bite into it. You can hear that crunch the minute you bite into that. Amazing. Let's get a nice big piece here. So good. You just get that freshness, the garlic, and the pea shoots. The pea shoots add a nice kind of earthiness, plays really nicely with the toasted pine nuts. And then that prosciutto adds another nice crispy texture, gives you a little bit of saltiness. So good. And then the goat cheese. Just melts in your mouth. Oh my gosh. Ladies and gentlemen, yes. Okay, so next it is going to be my split pea soup. Last but not least, that is. So stay tuned. Alright, welcome back everybody. Let's talk soup. Split pea soup to be exact. I've already measured out 2 cups of split peas here. That's all we're going to need. That sounds like a lot, but we're making a really hearty soup here. And I've got some chicken stock that I am letting come to a boil. We're going to add a lot of things here to give it some good depths of flavor. So I've got a ham bone here. I'm just going to gently plop that in. We're going to let that cook down. The meat is going to tenderize and those juices are going to drop in and really flavor our broth. I've also got an onion here and some minced garlic. I know I was using fresh garlic before, and you can do that as well, but I kind of want some of the oil from the garlic here. And the minced garlic, it comes preserved in that oil, which is sometimes nice to have. And then the onion, again, out of my garden. And then we're just going to give this a rough dice. Doesn't have to be too fine because we're going to end up pureeing this soup. And I really just want the onion for some flavor here. And I know I'm all about knife cuts, but we're really just want to fine dice on this. We're just, because we're going to be pureeing it, so it's fine. And that's just one yellow onion here. We're going to season that with a little salt. About a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of pepper. The salt's going to help these onions break down. I've also, I've got about a tablespoon or 2 of oil in here to help these onions break down. We just want those to get nice and sauteed. And then once they kind of break down, we'll add our garlic. You always want to add your garlic last because it'll burn. Nothing worse than burnt garlic.
Our onions are looking pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and add my peas. And those peas are going to take just about 15 to 20 minutes to cook through. And I want to go ahead and give those a quick little stir to keep them from sticking to the bottom. Nothing worse than your peas sticking to the pan.
Grab a lid and cover those. That's going to really really help those cook through because that steam is going to really keep the water going. Our onions look good. I'm going to go ahead and add my garlic. Like I said, I want some of that oil. And I'm going to do about a teaspoon of the minced garlic. Garlic is really strong, especially the preserved garlic like that, so you don't need too much of it. Alright, let's have us a look here. Oh yeah, those look good. They are nice and tender now. You can see they've really absorbed all that lovely broth, and our ham hock has broken down nicely. This is going to have a lot of flavor. So to finish off our soup, I'm just going to dump the onions and garlic into the food processor. I have turned off our soup. I'm just going to slide that over. And I've got a slotted spoon. I want a slotted spoon so I can get the peas without getting all the broth. So I want to add the peas first, and then we'll add the broth as we need it to get the consistency we want with our soup. And one more thing, I've got some fresh herbs here. Again, out of my garden, I've got some fresh dill here, some flat leaf Italian parsley, and some fresh mint. And we're just going to give this a rough chop. The mint, I just kind of bunch together like that, and I just like to kind of roll it up. We're going to do like a chiffonade. We're just going to come in here and slice that. And you don't have to do a fine chop here, I'm sorry, because we're going to be pureeing this up, so you just kind of want to break it up enough to get it into the food processor. And then the same with the parsley. And then our dill, I'm just going to kind of shave it off of the stalk. It smells amazing. All these fresh herbs, and as they hit the hot peas, they really come to life. Oh my gosh, so amazing. And the herbs are also going to give us that beautiful bright green color that you associate with pea soup. And then we just put our lid on, and we start to pulse. I'm going to take my little inside out there. And then we'll get a ladle, and we can ladle in the broth as we need it. Oh, yum. Does that not look amazing or what? Okay, I am ready to taste this baby. Let's get rid of our blade. I've got a bowl here and a spoon. I'm just going to come in here with our ladle, ladle some of this out. I didn't want to puree it all the way, I still wanted it to have a little texture. And speaking of texture, I have one final ingredient that is going to really make this soup luscious, and that is bacon. I have just diced up some bacon that I have had in my toaster oven, and I love a nice crunch element to my soup, because let's face it, this soup doesn't have a lot of texture. It's peas, it's pureed peas. What do you want? I'm going to sprinkle some of that bacon right on top. And let's grab our spoon and dig in. I just want you guys to get a look at this. Oh, so good. And it's good and warm, a nice warm soup. Mmm. 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 So good. Mmm. It has a nice velvety texture of the peas. You get a lot of earthiness from all those vegetables. The mint really brightens it up. And then you just get a nice crunch from the bacon. Mmm, so good. So rich and flavorful. That ham hock really adds a lot of richness here. Absolutely delicious. So, that is peas from the garden. As always, I thank you for joining me in the kitchen. Like and subscribe at the bottom. Let me know what you think in the comment section. And until next time, bon appetit.